Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Apple, and I want to primarily focus on the AirPods that they make specifically. But we'll get into Apple first. Apple, obviously, as everyone knows, one of the biggest tech companies. They have a dominant market over cell phones. The iPhone has about 50% of all phones in the world are iPhones. They own a lot of market share in this sector. And then recently they introduced the Apple AirPods, and that has seen a big growth in market share as well. They were introduced in 2017, and the AirPods were kind of seen as a joke at the time. The design was criticized, the price was criticized, everything about it was criticized. Apple used to put headphones in the box when purchasing an iPhone. There used to be headphones in the box. They did away with that, and they went to selling a completely separate set of headphones called the AirPods. Now, the AirPods have grown a lot since their release. There's been multiple generations of the release, and they only keep on growing, it seems. So from the start of the Apple AirPods, they didn't sell as much. They didn't sell a lot. Probably a couple million, 15 million, something like that. But they've really grown into something big. In 2020, they generated $23.05 billion of revenue from the Apple AirPods, a big increase from the release date of them. And I want to point out that Apple has this insane marketing and sales part of their business that, if we look back to the value chain that we looked at in class, the marketing and sales of Apple is top notch. They're able to have a market share where it doesn't matter what they release. Like, the Apple AirPods were criticized like crazy. They became a meme in 2017 when they were first released, and now they're the top selling audio system in 2021. They actually have two of the top four top selling audio systems with the newest generation, the Apple AirPods Pro, and then their previous generation, the second generation. So both of those are on the top four top selling audio systems. That competes with Bose, that competes with Beats, which they own, but it's still a separate entity. So they compete with that. They compete with JBL. They compete with Samsung, and they blow them out of the water. It's the discrepancy between number one and number two is outrageous, and it's a shout out to Apple for being able to do this. So I want to get into a little bit about why they did this and how they're able to generate so much revenue from a product that was already in the box for the iPhone into a separate product, and it's able to generate more revenue than Spotify, Twitter, Snapchat all combined. The AirPods generate more revenue than those three companies combined. So what they did was they took a product that everyone uses and that came included with the product they sell the most of. They sell a ton of iPhones. I think in the US, I think there's 150 million iPhone users, and there's 330 million people in the US. So just that statistic alone just tells you the power Apple has in their marketing, their operations. They're able to get people hooked on the iPhone where they cannot use anything else. So the AirPods are no different. They took a product everyone uses. They use headphones. Everyone listens to music every day, and they were able to take a product that came standard with the iPhone and made it a separate product, so people had to buy that as well. And this is just going to generate revenue because they were making $0 from headphones previously, and now they're selling them for $150 a piece. They're going to make a lot of money from this. And with the competition of headphones, everyone has their own opinion on headphones and which one is better, which one is best. I like the Beats a lot. I used to use them a lot, but then I had AirPods. They're much more convenient. They're much smaller. They're the size of like my two thumbs combined. Like, they're very small, and it's just a convenience factor that Apple really capitalized on. And so with the AirPods, um, because they're able to generate so much money from a product that they already had, which was not generating money, it just boosted Apple's sales in, like, drastically. They sold their revenue in 2021 was $378 billion. That's an insane amount of money, and they only contributed from the AirPods. Another thing Apple did too, which is interesting, kind of unrelated, but kind of sort of, they took out the charger in the box as well. So when you get an iPhone, you only get the phone. And this is just making them more money, because even if someone has to spend $10, $15, $20 on a little charger, you need that charger. So you're gonna pay that money. So if 150 million people buy a $10 product that they sell, that's another $1 billion. Like, the scaling they have is outrageous. So with the AirPods, it's an audio system. It's a top-selling audio system. I want to get into a few things that could disrupt this. And it seems almost comical to say that something could disrupt Apple, because they're such a large company, such a powerful company. They get people hooked on something like the iPhone, and they're able to just expand that idea, and to where a customer doesn't feel like they have options. Like, and they may not think that they're being trapped and that's just the iPhone's better, but in reality, there's probably better phones out there than the iPhone. So a few things in the future that could maybe disrupt this. In terms of the AirPods, Elon Musk is working on the Neuralink, and if that becomes the future and the reality, which I think it will, not in the near future, say 20 years, 30 years, whatever it may be, Apple's still going to be around. They're still going to be making phones, they're still going to be making computers, they're still going to be making AirPods, all these types of things. But the Neuralink, if possible, will be able to be implanted in your brain and be able to communicate with people, use your phone, play music. And the thought of this really intrigues me, because if I have something in my brain that is allowing me to play music seamlessly, what is the point of having headphones? There's no point. It's a disruptor mainly because it makes the product you're already using obsolete. It's not a substitute. I guess it is a substitute for that, for the AirPods, but it's a totally different technology, and we don't know what this may be. We don't know how long it may be until this technology comes around, but eventually it will. I guess 30 years ago, we never even thought we'd have phones, like handheld phones with internet in our pocket, and now the iPhone is one of the most powerful pieces of technology on earth. Like, I have everything in the palm of my hand, ready for me to look at, which would have been blasphemy 30 years ago. So just a technology like this, and there could be other technologies. Maybe there's like a super small headphone that like just sits in your ear, never comes out. Like, something like that could even disrupt this this industry here, with industry in general, audio systems. Apple has already disrupted that already with the AirPods only coming out 5 years ago, and they're the top selling audio system in the world. There's been companies like Bose that have been around for a long time, JBL, and they make great systems, great headphones, great speakers, everything like this, but they don't have the power that Apple has. Everything about Apple and what they do is extraordinary. They're able to get people hooked on a product that you wouldn't think would like grab like this to the consumer, but consumers, they gravitate towards the iPhone, they gravitate towards the AirPods. they gravitate towards everything Apple, the MacBook. I mean, everything they make, people just gravitate towards, whether it be easy to use, whether it's the sleek look, whether they like how it sounds, whatever it may be, it's Apple, and people are going to gravitate towards it. So I think in the future, what Apple can do is just keep innovating as they've always done. They've been around since the 70s. They've always innovated. They've always done things out of the norm, which people think are crazy, and then they end up being the norm. You know, Apple kind of creates this standard in technology, especially with, you know, the average consumer, the normal person that is just, you know, needs a phone, needs something to listen to, whatever it may be. They create this norm. With the iPhone originally, they created this norm. Like, it was seen as totally revolutionary. Like, oh, how are people going to use this? It's touchscreen, this and that. Like, but they're able to be the standard. So I think in the future with music in general, they can be the standard, and they can outlast this maybe technology boom, disruptive, whatever you may call it. With and I just give an example of the Neuralink with Elon Musk, because he's an interesting guy. You know, everything he says is just fun to listen to. You know, he has a ton of ideas that could be potentially catastrophic, or they could change the world for the better, and who knows. But I just want to bring that up because the Neuralink sounds like a really cool idea, and I think that it could replace everything we know about technology now. Like, if you have something in your head that is able to do what, say 5 devices do, say my phone and my headphones, you know, if it can do everything, why would I need a phone? Why would I need headphones? Why would I need to put anything in my ears if I have it in my head? So that one is just really interesting to me, because I think this could be a reality in, say, 20, 30 years. And if not, say 50 years down the line, I mean, that's not even so outrageous. I mean, Apple started 50 years ago. What's to say that 50 years from now, we have a totally new technology? Like, we would have never thought we'd have an iPhone 50 years ago. So having this new technology 50 years in the future, it could be a disruptor, and it will be. When it first comes out, and we'll see who the first movers are. We'll see who follows it right away, and who's able to capitalize the market the most. But I think Apple has one of the best opportunities to do so, just because they're so innovative in everything they do, that why couldn't it be them? Like, who would be the other suspect to compete with this? It has to be Apple. So just to close things up, I think with the AirPods in general, they're a very successful product because they took something they already made and sold it for, it started at $0, and now they're selling it at $150. You're gonna make money off of that, no matter what it is. Even if you sell 2 of them, you're making money, because you started at $0 and you're selling it at $150. So you're gonna make money. And with Apple, I think they're the biggest innovators of technology, at least for the average consumer. I think they get a lot of people hooked on their products. So if something does disrupt this company in the future, I think they have the power, the technology, the information, the people involved to compete with this. If something comes out later in the future, like the Neuralink, I think Apple is a prime suspect to compete with this, and to maybe develop their own. And then that's a disruptor in its own. If they develop their own Neuralink, something similar with that, people are going to gravitate towards Apple, because they always do. Thank you so much.